My friends, Eric Andreas, your Guitar Sage here, and today we're going to learn how to properly use a looper pedal. So I get this question a lot from students where they get a looper pedal and they understand that it records them, that sort of thing, but there's something missing. They just don't quite understand how to use it. And really there's only three things that you have to know, in my opinion, three things to really properly use a looper pedal, to have nice clean loops, etc. And I'm going to share those with you today. Let's do this. Okay, here are those three things that you need to do. First off, to play in time as accurately as possible is crucial. If you're using a metronome, that's very helpful. But playing in time is absolutely crucial because it's recorded and obviously you're going to hear all your mistakes. It's not going to make it very fun if you're not playing in time. So number one, playing in time. Number two is starting on the downbeat, the downbeat of the one, and ending on the downbeat of the one. I'm going to explain all of these here in just a moment. And third is to play the riff, whatever it is that you're going to play it before you actually hit the pedal to record. You're going to see me do this 4 times here in just a moment, as what you just heard, I'm actually going to be building that in front of you. And you're going to see me do all 3 of these each time to make sure that we have a nice clean loop. If you do that, then everything's going to be in time. Everything's going to sound really great. There may be a fourth thing. I guess the fourth thing really doesn't have to do so much with the looper pedal, but just in constructing a loop like I've done here, if you're not just creating a jam, making sure that you're orchestrating things like an orchestra would. You've got your lows, you've got your mids, you've got your highs. If all the guitars that you're recording are in the low register, they're really going to get muddled. And as you're going to see in this next bit here where we're actually building this loop together, you're going to hear me and see me go through different places on the neck that have different notes that are going to allow for a nice big full range instead of having everything in the low end or everything in the high end. So let's do this. We're going to build this loop from the ground up. Okay, and I have my first part here, right, which is an E minor, an A minor, a C, a B7, and an E minor, and a B7. Now the effects that I'm using on here, just a little bit of overdrive and a little bit of modulation, or I say a little bit of tremolo, like old school cowboy guitars, that's all I'm using here. Now, I said we're going to go over these 3 things often, actually all 4 of these. Number 1 is playing in time. Let's just assume everything that I'm doing is playing in time, even if I don't play it in time. But what's very, very important is making sure that number 2 of this is that you start on that downbeat of the 1, and the third part is making sure that you play the riff before you actually begin. So let's try this. I'm going to actually play it beforehand. I'm not going to record yet. You're going to see me record, which is this button on the far left. This is also, I can also play with this. That's how I would start that. But you can see it's record and play. So I'm going to play through it. And when I start coming around to the end, I'm going to hit on the 1. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, and step. And that's when I'm going to do it, okay? Very important that we do that and we play the riff, because if we have, say, some delay playing through, well, when I start the riff, that's going to sound great. But if I get to the very end of the riff that should have some delay and reverb trailing off, that's what we call them, trails, if we don't hear that at the beginning of the loop, it's going to sound really wonky. It's going to not sound right. So you just got to trust me on that if you don't understand what I'm saying right now. Maybe I'll do one as a test so you can hear it. So I'm going to play through it one time through, and then I'm going to hit record on the downbeat of the 1. you can hear that what I did is I started that loop right on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you step on the pedal on the record button right then. Okay, and if you're playing, there's no hiccups, there's no anything else. You're just going to hit that button right on that 1. That's going to start the loop. Then at the end of the loop, you step right on the 1, the downbeat of the 1 again, and that makes a perfect loop. Okay, let's listen back to that now again. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Beginning of the loop right there. Okay? Now, so we're going to build on top of this now. And what we'll want to do is we'll want to allow the loop to play. We'll have our part. I have a part that I want to do here, and it's going to sound something like this. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the next riff, but I want to actually do it the wrong way so that you can understand why it is that we don't want to do that. I mentioned that the number 3 of this is to play the riff all the way through so that any reverb or delay trails that your effects are producing will actually show up on the print or on your looper pedal when you record it. If you don't play it all the way through, then the trail, the very end of the riff, that reverb or delay trail won't show up. So I'm purposely not going to do that. I'm not going to do it the right way this time so that you have a better idea of what not to do. So now I'm just going to play straight into it, and I'm going to hit record, but I'm not playing the riff beforehand. Here we go. Listening, everything sounds great, right? But listen to the very beginning of the riff. You're going to hear the reverb trail. It's not there. It sounds a little weird. You see how everything dropped down in the background a little bit? You couldn't actually hear the reverb, so we don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo it. Okay, now I'm going to let it play through, and this time I'm going to play it through so that we have that reverb trail. So here we go. So now we have the trail there, okay? Now, let's do another part here. This is the part, and I'm going to record it after I listen to it one time through because I do want to play it. That was my third part. Let's talk about the number 4 of this, right? The part that you don't necessarily have to do, but if you want to create this sort of orchestration where you have lots of different sounds going on, it's good to think like an orchestra and have the different places in the mix that you're going to put your lows, your highs, your mids, all the rest. So now I'm going way up the neck and I'm going to play another part. It's going to sound something like this. All right, so to review, let's talk about the things again that we need. We need to make sure that we're playing in time as accurately as possible to the best of your ability. When you're doing the riff, whatever riff that you're playing, you want to start on that downbeat, the downbeat of the 1. So you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, boom. And on that boom, on that downbeat of the 1, that's when you hit record. You should be playing already, right? For the number 3, or for the number 3 part of this, which is making sure that you play the riff all the way through. So playing in time, making sure that you're starting on that 1 and ending on the 1. If you do anything other than that, you're going to have a wonky, not a 4-bar measure. If the song's in 6, obviously you'll do it in 6, but either 99% of the time you're going to be in 4 or 6. Just make sure that you count it or you stop right where you start so that you have a nice clean loop. And lastly, if you want to make sure that you've got, if you're overdubbing these guitars, you want to make sure that you're playing in different parts of the neck with different rhythmic styles, something to make each part stand out. My friends, that's all there is to this lesson. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified of all the great videos that we're doing here. As always, be kind to all beings, do the right thing always, practice your guitar, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's go back. Uh-oh, did I do something wrong? What did I do? 3, 4, 1. What? Dear God. I didn't record any of that. I probably don't need to say who I am again. Yeah. It's as if I'm new to all this. Yeah.